Hello, hello, hello. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everyone. This is Jeff from Fluent American here once more in the Schwa Mill, where we craft your accent every Saturday at this time, 1:30 p.m. in New York. Hope you guys are doing well. I apologize for the little bit of delay getting started, but let me know what are some things you guys are doing this weekend. What is happening? I know for us, my wife is doing a chess tournament right now, so that's where she is at. If anyone here actually plays chess, be sure to let me know in the chat. Hello to Emmanuel stopping by. Before we get into pronunciation, just some real quick housekeeping things and some exciting things that I think you guys are going to I'm excited about them. Hello also to Shok checking in, as well as to Justin checking in case you're watching this on the replay. Hello to you as well. Thank you so much for spending some time with us. We do appreciate that. But I want to just take a moment to show you something that I'm really excited about, and I hope you are too. Give me 1 second. I will explain everything. Do you guys know, actually, before I even do it, a question for you. There's a little bit of a teaser there. What month is next month? So right now we are in October. The last month was September. What month comes after October? And if you said that the next month is November, well, I have some disappointing news for you. The next month is not actually November in English. It is actually called Novenglish. Hey, so what we are going to be doing next month, which I'm really excited about, we are going to be doing 30 straight days of pronunciation videos, not necessarily long pronunciation videos, but a series of pronunciation videos on different topics related to pronunciation. You can expect those videos to vary in length from like 2-3 minutes to 5 minutes or longer. And it's basically just going to go through some quick exercises and things. And these are just going to be topics that I think that, let me rephrase, for a lot of students, they look up videos on YouTube, but I think a lot of people kind of feel lost. They're like, what do I study? What order do I study in? That's in fact why a lot of students actually end up taking pronunciation classes with me, is because they're like, hey, like I know there's so much information out there, but I don't know what to actually study. What's valid for me? And I think that's a great question. So basically, this is going to be, if I had to pick, the 30 most important elements of American English pronunciation that a student should be able to feel comfortable with, say, like in a course or like some sort of like college curriculum or things like that. So these would be the things that I would prioritize. So that way, if you don't have a plan right now, if you're just kind of studying American English but you don't really have a structure to it, then this is to give you a map. Okay, outside of just kind of taking classes, then this is what I think is going to be the most helpful. So for instance,
Question.
Emmanuel asks us, does that mean we get videos every day? Yes. That's the plan right now. So you can see up here the calendar. It's going to be 30 days. It's called Novenglish because it's going to be basically a 30-day group of lessons. And even outside of November, it'll still be a great strategy that you can follow. But basically, again, 30 days, 30 straight videos of essentials for American English. So good. Spread the hashtag, spread the word. If you know people that are studying English, it's all about Novenglish the next month coming up, that you guys should be next to you. I see Denny's in the house as well. Yes, I will hydrate. Denny has reminded me to hydrate. A quick reminder, too, speaking of reminders,
Like what you're hearing? Let us know by liking and subscribing.
so I'm super excited about this. Emmanuel's excited about this. Justin's excited about this. I hope that by the end of November, if you're again trying to figure out what to study for American English, this will give you some guidance. So I'm super excited about that. While we have everything shared, though, maybe this is your first time stopping by the Schwa Mill. Be sure to let us know. If you're watching on the replay, you can say, hey, this is my first time. If you've seen us 1,000 times, you can say, hey, this is my 1,000th episode. We haven't actually gotten 1,000 episodes, but we definitely have a number of them. But if this is your first time, or maybe you just need a reminder, basically what we do every Saturday is we listen to your pronunciation files. You can send them here in this document. And basically, I'll post this. Whoops, that is definitely not the right thing. Well, I can't get rid of that. Just ignore that link. I don't know why I didn't copy. Yeah, I really, really don't know why I didn't copy. There we go. Appreciate the kind words on that. Denny saying it's a cool guide coming up. I think so. So if you go to this link here, what it's going to do is it's going to send you to this document. You can see people have already sent me their pronunciation files. That's what these links are here in the document. And basically, it's going to send you to a website called Vocaroo.com. Once you are at Vocaroo.com, what you'll usually see is like a nice big red microphone icon. You click that icon, you send me a recording. Once you do that, or once you record yourself, it's going to give you this link. You can then take this link and put it over here where it says put Vocaroo link. If you want me to know who you are, that would be nice. You could put your name. But if you don't want me to know who you are, you want to stay a little mysterious, you want to stay a little hidden because it's the internet and the internet's scary, that's fine too. It can be helpful if you write the words for what you say. Okay, you don't have to, but that's something that can be very helpful for me, just in case we have any audio issues, technical issues, or even just pronunciation issues that make comprehension difficult. And some things that would be helpful for me is if you could tell me, where you're coming from. Specifically, just kind of give me some like first language guidance, but it's also helpful for me just from having an idea where my students are located or viewers. And then, of course, if you have a pronunciation question as well, we will try to address those too. Besides that, I think that's kind of the main stuff that I wanted to go through. If anyone, of course, as we go through this as well, if you have a question that comes up regarding pronunciation, regarding accents, regarding English, regarding life helps or life tips, if you're trying to like remodel your house or something like that. Can't guarantee I'm going to give you great advice for that, but who knows? Anything that you think I can help you with, you can also put those in the chat and I'd be happy to see them. Though, granted, the questions related to English and pronunciation, I can give you the best advice on. But with that, you guys are not come here to just hear me talk about these sorts of things. You guys want to hear yourselves, and I totally respect that. So let us begin to get into your American English pronunciation.
Oh, let me add myself there, right? Again, it's not little, it's more little.
The G host was class.
Are you feeling that here, or here?
So you guys have seen I have now put on my headphones. That way I can hear you and you'll be able to hear me as well as soon as I share my screen. So we're going to take a look at your files. We're going to give advice for things like accent related to intonation patterns, vowel sounds, consonant sounds, intonation, stress, reductions, linking, breath, anything that kind of comes to mind that we think will be helpful in achieving a more natural accent. So let me share my screen and share my audio. And we don't necessarily have any rhyme or reason into this. I do have to remember to include timestamps. I always forget timestamps, so you're going to see me just kind of do this. It's going to make your lives easier as well as mine. So right now we are at the 8:29 mark. So that's going to be for our first audio. And you can see I have these loaded up. Let's just kind of pick a random one here. This one's 6 seconds. Let's see who we have.
In order to speak like a native speaker, you really want to be able to listen like a native speaker.
Got some nice little parallels there going on. English loves parallel structure. If you're not sure what parallel structure is, that's like when you have one pattern that's said in one part of a sentence and then that pattern gets repeated elsewhere. Let me play that file one more time.
In order to speak like a native speaker, you really want to be able to listen like a native speaker.
Cool. And here's the text, if you're watching this. All right, so let's kind of play the first half.
In order to speak like a native speaker.
I think the general pattern here is good. So you're stressing speak, which I think is going to be the one that you want. What I would say is I do think native's getting a little bit of weight to it that I don't necessarily know if you need.
In order to speak like a native speaker.
You know what the issue might actually be instead of that? It might be that your pause between speak and like it's kind of long.
In order to speak like a native speaker.
In order to speak like a native speaker. I would have not have had as long of a pause there. I would instead have recommended maybe dragging out speak a little longer and then join it to the next word. To give you an example,
In order to speak like a native speaker.
in order to speak like a native speaker, in order to speak like a native speaker, in order to speak like a native speaker. So again, just kind of reducing that length of the pause in between, I think would be very helpful. In order to speak like a native speaker, I think you could also go down in pitch on native a little bit in order to speak like a native speaker.
In order to speak like a native speaker.
Because I feel like when I'm hearing like a native speaker, versus like a native speaker, like a native speaker. Can you hear a difference between those?
To speak like a native speaker.
You're also you're using a falling intonation. Justin, I see your comment. Justin's saying that he uploaded a different file. Cool. So what you're doing is you're using a falling intonation on speaker.
Speak like a native speaker.
In order to speak like a native speaker. I think that can work, but I do think a rising intonation would be just a little bit more traditional. Like in order to speak like a native speaker, in order to speak like a native speaker, followed by.
You really want to be able to listen like a native speaker.
Okay, so I like the idea of what you're doing. So you're putting that weight on really, which I think is a word that you see it. It's a pretty common word in American English, and it is one that when it appears, it very often does get stressed. So I like that idea. My mom is checking in. Hello to mom. Happy Saturday. Play it once more. I also want to change the angle. I am huge. I mean, I'm very tiny. Let's make that a little bigger. Okay.
In order to speak like a native speaker, you really want to be able to listen like a native speaker.
Again, one thing that we're seeing there was like listen and like you're doing a very similar thing there where you have this kind of long pause. And when I say long, we're talking like milliseconds, right? But in terms of like sentence flow, it is kind of long. So I think you could have shortened that just a little bit.
You really want to be able to listen like a native speaker.
Instead, listen like a native speaker more. Listen like a native speaker. You really want to be able to listen like a native speaker. Listen like a native speaker. It's like listen like. That's the progression I think would be helpful to practice for that.
You really want to be able to listen like a native speaker.
I like the stress on really.
Speaker, you really want to be able to listen.
You really want to be able to listen. You really want to be able to listen.
Speaker, you really want to be able to listen.
I like your movement there. Really want to be able to. That's a great movement. Really want to be able to, and then going up again. Listen. To listen.
Be able to listen. You really want to be able to listen.
One little note. Able to. You can say able to with a T sound. That's kind of what I'm hearing here. See if you guys can hear that breath.
You want to be able to listen.
Able to. Just hearing a little bit of breath escaping.
Really want to be able to listen.
Able to, versus I think that what I would say is that T sounds fine, but a lot of times because you have able to, I think a lot of times you're going to get more of a voiced sound there. So instead of a T, more like a fast D. Able to listen. That's kind of the progression I would practice. Able to listen. Like a native speaker. So this would probably be my big major suggestions for this file. I think there's lots of great things, as Justin's bringing up the fact that his accent is so relaxing. Sounds like a wise old man. Emmanuel is very wise. I'm very fortunate. I get to talk to Emmanuel a lot during the week. He's a member of our Mission English program, which we'll talk about a little bit later, which is exciting. And yeah, lots of great things.
In order to
Super
speak
attentive.
like a native speaker, you really want to be able to listen like a native speaker.
Emmanuel writes that he was trying to shadow a teacher, and the teacher was using these pauses. So in the sentence that the teacher was given, I have to ask, was the teacher kind of in teacher mode, or was the teacher actually kind of using an authentic sentence from a real life conversation? Because I do think that kind of makes a difference. I'll just add to that a little bit. When teachers are sometimes giving examples, there are tendencies to exaggerate, because you're trying to make a point, you're trying to make sure your students understand things that you're saying. So what ends up happening is the things that you're saying aren't necessarily always the most authentic or the most natural sounding. Emmanuel notes that it was kind of teacher mode. So I think that would kind of explain those pauses, just to make it really, really, really clear. My mom says she just watched some of Mission English. Like our trailer? I'm confused, Mom. You're not in our Mission English group. Or are you? What? I am mad confused by that. But maybe it was on a preview video. But regardless, the important thing is that yes, the accent is great. Lots of great applause for Emmanuel and what he's doing with his work. If you guys have been following the Schwab Mill for a while, you're very used to hearing Emmanuel. What he's doing with his pitches and things is just the clarity. I think is really, really, really standing out. So it's great to see. But Emmanuel, if you have other questions for me about that file, let me know. Thank you, as always, for sending that. I hope those tips are helpful. Okay. We did have a question here. Jeff, how do you refer to a woman in a formal way? Is it Mrs.? Yeah, that's a great question. So, I think that Mrs. first name, that kind of gets into that kind of almost like business casual kind of thing. It's like, because if it's like Mrs. and then first name like Mrs. like Mrs. Rebecca or something like that, that's you kind of get a little bit of that polite aspect, but then you also kind of get a little bit of that formality with the Mrs. So I think that certainly can work. Another option too, if you're going even more formal, then what you can do is you can just use the last name, Mrs. with the last name, like Mrs. Smith, Mrs. Jones. Those are the common things. One thing that you typically see, and there's a lot of sociolinguistic questions that arise from this sort of situation, but one phenomenon you see in American English is that Miss is used with unmarried women, and then Mrs. is used with married women a lot. Now, there is some relative flexibility with this, but that traditionally is how the language has worked. We can talk about some of the kind of social issues that come up with those sorts of addresses and things, but that's a phenomenon you will see. But again, typically, if you're going most formal, you would expect the last name to appear after that. Some people don't like being called Miss. Miss is often used with, in general, again, some social linguistic stuff. Generally used with younger women. But then the other side of that, and in fact, we see what Emmanuel has written here, ma'am is often used with older women. So it's kind of this tricky thing, because a lot of women don't necessarily like being called ma'am, because it's like, why, what, you think I'm old or something like that? So that's kind of another issue that comes up. So it's a tricky argument and discussion you're kind of entering into, but also a very interesting one in terms of how language uses certain terms, especially with regard to gender and age. Yep. But if you guys have other questions about that, I would be happy to explore them. And if my mom wants to add any nuances to things I've said, she is, of course, more than welcome to as well in the chat. Okay, moving on to our next file. I'm going to jump over here. If I can press the right button, which I apparently cannot. And also lose my mouse. You guys know I'm always losing my mouse. Okay, and hey, Nick S has made it in. What's up, man? Third time here, third time's the charm. Great to see you once more. Maybe Nick's going to be brave and send us a file today. Oh my gosh, Nick. Nick, are you feeling brave today? It's okay if you're not. But it's so great to see you here as well, just regardless. Yeah, super social linguistics, if you guys are interested in accents and you're interested in pronunciation, I think you would also really like social linguistics, because there's so many little complicated things that you may or may not have ever really thought about. Nick, not entirely certain if he's going to send us a file today. That's fine. Just a quick note, you don't have to actually let us know it's you. You could just be unknown stranger. or something like that. We would have no idea. You could even post in the chat after listening to it, like, "Who is that last guy? He sounded great," or "Who is that last guy? He sounded horrible." You can also do that too. But let's return back to some files and things. Let's listen to this and see which is the original one.
Can I get you anything while you're thinking about it? I hear the coffee here is unbeatable.
Okay. Something about coffee. I was actually at a coffee shop earlier today. And it wasn't just Jesse, it was Justin that said I need to update his file. Okay. And look at me doing timestamps. Guys, I'm doing it. Hopefully I remember to then, after the stream is over, to then input these. This is going to be for the second. Okay, that's done. All right, but can I get you anything? Okay. By the way, guys, a quick note. So I told you again that Novenglish is coming. It's not November next month, it's Novenglish. If there's a topic that you would like to see during the 30 days, put them in the chat. Or if you're watching this in the replay, let me know in the replay. Let me know about what is a topic that you would really find to be helpful during that 30 days. I can't guarantee you will make it, but I'm very curious to see what you would like. Before we get to this file, too, Denny has a question for us. Also, is Mission English being streamed on this YouTube channel or what? So Mission English currently is not being streamed on YouTube. I'm thinking maybe like twice a month we'll do one of our Mission English sessions live on the YouTube channel just to kind of show people what we're about. We do have a couple videos up that kind of highlight what we do in Mission English. We'll talk a little bit more about it after a couple more audio files. But, part of the thing with Mission English is that, hey, this is a private community thing like that. It's part of the investment. It's part of the thing that you're subscribing for, is that we don't have it on YouTube. It's in a private Facebook group. That's where all the lessons are. All the lessons are saved. Even just watching the replays, even if you're not on screen with me during Mission English, just watching the replays can be super, super helpful in terms of the lessons, because we talk about so many things that we actually haven't even gotten to on the channel yet. So that's if that is something you want to check out, look at down at the bottom. Again, we'll talk about Mission English a little bit later. There is actually a discount going on. If you look at our YouTube posts, I'll try to bring that up soon. We do have a discount going on for 50% off for your first month. So that means you're paying what, $15 for 18 classes. That's who's going to beat that? Name someone who's beating that. Let me know. I want to know who they are. Okay, finally going back to our file. It wasn't that one. It wasn't that one. It was this one, right?
Can I get you anything?
Okay, let's go back to our original file here. And thank you, Emmanuel, also noting about the private nature of Mission English. So for this pronunciation file here.
Can I get you anything while you're thinking about it? I hear the coffee here is unbeatable.
Okay. What do you guys think is going to be my What do you think is going to be my major piece of feedback for this?
Can I get you anything while you're thinking about it? I hear the coffee here is unbeatable.
Because I think for all these pronunciation files, I think it's very helpful if you also kind of approach it from a teacher's perspective, or trying to guess, what are the things that I'm going to say before I say them. And then let's analyze pronunciation together.
Can I get you anything while you're thinking about it? I hear the coffee here is unbeatable.
And let me see. Justin's mentioning about maybe a little bit monotonous. Instead of monotonous, so just a quick note. So monotonous kind of means like just kind of like the same thing over and over again. Instead of monotonous, I think in terms of like sound, you probably mean like a little flat or monotone. In terms of, the inflections are all kind of at the same pitch. And that actually is probably one of my major comments about this audio file.
Can I get you anything while you're thinking about it?
Can I get you anything while you're thinking about it? Can I get you anything while you're thinking about it? And this is actually something that I was talking about, speaking of Mission English, we were just talking about this in the group, is that you have stress very clearly in that first part there.
Can I get you anything while you're thinking about it?
While you're thinking, so very clear stress on thinking. So that's great. I'm not fighting to understand what word is getting the most stress. I also applaud you for just having one stress. I think a lot of times, especially English learners tend to have a lot of stresses in their sentences. So like almost every other word might be getting stressed. And I don't think that's what we're finding here. I'm really just hearing that stress on thinking. So I like what you're doing with that. That's a great movement.
Can I get you anything while you're thinking about it?
And you even do have some movement down, even your reduced words. Like notice how you're going down on your.
Can I get you anything while you're thinking about it?
While you're it's like that while you're while you're thinking, I like that movement. While you're thinking. Good. So I think that the biggest comment for this first part is going to be the first part.
Can I get you anything while
Can I get you? Can I get you? Can I get you?
Can I get you anything while
Can I get you anything? Can I get you anything? So you kind of want to do what you did in that last half of that first part. You know, while you're thinking, can I get you anything? Can I get you anything? While you're thinking about, can I get you anything while you're thinking about it? Can I get you anything while you're thinking about it? Can I get you anything while you're thinking about it? Can I get you anything while you're thinking about it? Another thing that might help is, let me just listen to the file one more time.
Can I get you anything?
Can I get you anything? Get you.
Can I get you anything?
So you're kind of using like a held T sound on get, and that makes sense, get you. So you're kind of treating that y sound as like a consonant. When you have a T followed by a consonant, it often becomes like a held T, like get you, which is fine. But something that might help is, in terms of syllables, is instead of saying get you, like get you. Can I get you anything? Can I get you anything? Because now what you're doing is you're reducing the number of syllables in your sentence. So then you don't have to go even like crazy low because you have fewer parts to your sentence. Can I get you anything? Can I get you anything? Can I get you anything? Because like getcha becomes almost like one word, right? Getcha. A lot of times when you have a T sound followed by a y sound, like get you, it gets reduced. So it becomes like a ch sound. It's like get ch. And then you is very often not stressed. And because it's not stressed, it gets reduced. And because it gets reduced, it often gets a weaker vowel sound. So instead of that oo sound, often becomes just a schwa, just like It's like getcha. Can I getcha? Can I get you anything? Can I get you anything while you're thinking about? Can I get you anything while you're thinking about? Can I get you anything while you're thinking about? Another option too that can help this sound a little bit less monotone is if you start from a higher point. So right now your can is so low.
Can I get you?
Can. So you're like here, can. And nothing else is stressed for a long time. And so this is the issue that you're going to run into. Okay. So you're starting can at a very low point, right? And your stressed word where you're going to go high, if you're just stressing thinking, is really far away. It's like way over. It's like over here. It's like way over here. You're so far away. And so because you have such a distance and you're starting at such a low point, well, now I'm just going to have to keep going down. And you're kind of putting yourself into a difficult position when you do that. Whereas if you started at a higher pitch for can, you're lengthening your runway. Your runway is like when you have a plane lands on a runway at the airport. You know, when a plane lands, it wants to have lots of room. You don't want to have a runway that's too short, right? So if you go up to higher pitch on can, then suddenly you don't have to go crazy low. Like, can I get you anything while you're thinking about it? Can I get you anything while you're thinking about it? Can I get you anything while you're thinking about it? You know, something like that. Instead of, can I get you anything while you're thinking about it? Can I get you anything while you're thinking about it? So starting at a higher point would be very helpful. Another point that my mom brings up, thanks, Mom. She says, I said this numerous times to myself. My mom noticed that she pauses very briefly between anything and while. So she's actually saying this with two thought groups. So that is another option for this first part. You could have two stresses instead of just one. I applaud you for just having one stress. I think that's great. But I think you could also get away with having two. So can I get you anything? So most likely when mom's saying that, my guess is that she's probably stressing get. Like, can I get you anything? Can I get you anything? While you're thinking about it. And what that would do is would again give you kind of two shorter structures so you don't have to go crazy deep. Can I get you anything? Can I get you anything while you're thinking about it? So that's another option as well that could be helpful for that sentence. Emmanuel asks, do we always have to raise the pitch on the first word of the sentence so we have more runway? No, you don't have to. I think something that I would listen to native speakers asking questions. I think it doesn't always work out this way, but I think a lot of times when people are asking questions, they are starting their questions at a higher pitch. And so that's something that can be helpful, but no, you don't have to. I think it's helpful when you have a longer sentence, though. I think if you start a little higher, that's going to give you a little bit more room. Okay. Also, when you have a new thought group, it allows you to kind of reset, because maybe like my first half of my sentence, the pitch level is here, but then when I have a new thought group, that part's going to be higher. So to give you an example, maybe the first half of my sentence is here, but when I have a new thought group, it's up here. Compare that first part. Maybe when I start a sentence, but when I have a new, do you hear how the pitch changed mid-sentence, starting on but? So that's something that having a new thought group allows you to do. You can change the pitch level of that thought group without sounding stressed. That's one advantage that pitch can have. Hopefully that makes sense. My mom also notes she stressed get in that part as well, just like we imagined. All right, that's a lot for that first half of that sentence, but we got more, guys. There's a second half to this.
Can I get you anything while you're thinking about it? I hear the coffee here is unbeatable.
I hear the coffee here is unbeatable. I hear the coffee here is unbeatable.
I hear the coffee here is unbeatable.
Okay, are you trying to convince me that the coffee is really good here? Okay, Emmanuel saying they understood what I said. That's great. Are you convinced? So this is my question for the chat. This guy says that the coffee here is unbeatable. Do you believe him? Do you buy it based on what he's saying?
Anything while you're thinking about it? I hear the coffee here is unbeatable. Thinking about it? I hear the coffee here is unbeatable.
Are you convinced? Is the coffee here unbeatable? Are you convinced? Just by hearing this file.
Do anything while you're thinking about it? I hear the coffee here is unbeatable.
I don't know. Forgotten saying they don't buy it. Uh-oh. We got some issues. Uh-oh. Needs more emotion on unbeatable. Yeah. Uh-oh. So we have a problem here. You're saying one thing. This is kind of where the yeah, then he says, yeah, sure, I'll get a coffee. Maybe. I added the maybe. Yeah, people aren't really convinced. People aren't buying it. We don't think you're convinced. We don't think that you actually think it's unbeatable. You sound a little skeptical. Yeah, I hear the coffee is unbeatable. Maybe.
About it, I hear the coffee here is unbeatable.
So, and this is also, there's, when you're talking, there's different levels to language, right? There's a grammatical, like syntactical meaning. This is what your sentence means. Just like when you look at the word structure, subject, verb, object, everything's in the order, things like that. Levels have that syntactical meaning. Okay. And it's true in any language. Levels, the sentences have the syntactical meaning, but then they also have the semantical, or just the semantic meaning. And that's kind of like more of like the emotional or like the general kind of understanding of what you're saying. So sentences operate on both of these levels. And so when there's a disconnect where your grammar is saying one thing, but then your semantics is kind of suggesting something else, it causes like some confusion for your reader or for your listener. And so what I see with this sentence and how this is being said is I think we're running into an issue where the grammar, the syntactic like structure of this is suggesting one thing, but the semantics is suggesting something else. And this can be used for humor. Like, for instance, if you guys are interested in things like sarcasm or irony, these are great devices for that. But from like a language learner perspective, this can, if you're not intentionally trying to have that impact, you can really run into some kind of big problems with with your listener. With your, they may be confused. They may interpret what you're saying wrong, or not the way you intend. You know, to give an example, one of the examples I give a lot is like sometimes I'm teaching a class. This was more when I was teaching in person, and maybe I'm teaching a beginner level class. I say something, and a student didn't hear what I said, so they say, "What?" And from a teacher's perspective, like I'm like, okay, they didn't understand what I said, so let me rephrase it. But the semantics of what you're doing there, what? That's not saying like, oh, can you repeat that, please? That's saying you're angry, or like you're mad at me, or I offended you, something like that. If you're like, what? When the reality is that, oh, you just didn't understand and you want me to repeat, so because the grammar's right, you're using the right word, you could say like, what? Like, what did you say? What? You can certainly do that. But because you use a different intonation pattern, now your semantics isn't quite doing what your grammar is intending you are trying to do. So now you can come off as potentially offensive. So that's kind of, I'm not saying this sentence here is offensive, but I'm saying that if you're trying to actually say this coffee is unbeatable, that's something you want to kind of keep in mind. So how can we fix this? Well, a couple of points that I see in the chat. Thank you guys for saying this. Where was Emmanuel? I know he read a suggestion. Let me see. Where was it? Needs more emotion on unbeatable. Yes. And my mom notes that she stresses the beat in unbeatable. Yeah, so the unbeatable. Great. So that's what I would say. So I think unbeatable probably needs to have a higher pitch. You need to raise that pitch, especially on the beat. You can keep the other pitches down. Like, I hear the coffee here is unbeatable. I hear the coffee here is unbeatable. I also think that kind of like what we mentioned a moment ago, I think that for this sentence, you could probably start it at a higher pitch. Can I get you anything where you think about? I hear the coffee here is unbeatable. I hear the coffee here is unbeatable. I hear the coffee here is unbeatable. Another thing you could do is like, right now, all your kind of syllables are almost the same length, I feel.
Can I get you anything while you're thinking about it? I hear the coffee here is unbeatable.
Every single syllable is like the same length. Can I get you anything while you're thinking about it? I hear the coffee here is unbeatable. But, this is kind of the opposite of how English works. When a word is stressed, you're expecting it to not just go at a higher pitch, but you're expecting it to be lengthened. And I think this is especially true when you're using strong emotional adjectives. For instance, like unbeatable. Unbeatable is a strong word. You're not just saying it's good or it's okay. You're saying it's unbeatable. So, show that. You want to raise the pitch on beat, but you also want to lengthen it in time. If something takes more time in English, you interpret that as being more important. I hear the coffee here is unbeatable. Which coffee do you want to try? The coffee here is unbeatable. The coffee here is unbeatable. 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 Like which coffee do you want to do? So that's kind of something that I would really encourage you to explore. So those are kind of the things that I would really try to take a look at, honestly. Those are the things I think are going to have the most immediate impact. Okay. My mom notes, I think the sentence is a bit awkward, though, with here in here. I think the coffee here is unbeatable. I think the coffee here is unbeatable. I think the coffee here is unbeatable. Oh, I hear the coffee here is unbeatable. I hear the coffee here. I hear the coffee here. I hear the coffee here. It doesn't bother me, but if that is something that bothers you, the repetition of the sounds, what you could do is instead of think or even heard, like I heard the coffee here, and I think you like they said the coffee here is unbeatable or something like that. If those sounds do bother you. Got a question for Manuel. Can you drag out the E in unbeatable? Yeah, sure. It's unbeatable. It's unbeatable. One thing you could do, we always talk about placement a lot. If you're new to us, welcome. Thanks for joining us. It's great to have you here. Let me know if you're new. If this is your first time watching us, please say, hey, I want to know that you're here. But one thing you could do is you could raise the placement on the B to make it really like unbeatable. But just make sure if you do raise the placement that you keep the breath flowing. Unbeatable. You don't want it close the throat just because you're raising the placement. Just a note. Okay, so you could keep the air flowing. Just a note. My mom says that she likes saying heard instead of the first hear in that sentence. So just another thing that you can consider for the feedback. All right, but I think that gives you plenty to chew on. Thank you so much for sending that file. Okay, and a reminder, guys, that if you're new, if you're just watching this for the first time, what we are doing is we are listening to your pronunciation files. You can send us your files. Let me make it a little bit bigger so you can actually see what's going on. You can send us. I had them earlier in the session. Where is that link? Here it is. So this is the link that you can go to. If you click at click the video details, you'll see this link too, in case you're having trouble finding it. But then you can look at this document. I see that Muhammad has sent us a file. Excited to hear it. Okay. Also, my mom notes that she tends to drag out that E in unbeatable. Right, because you want it to take more time when it's a stressed word. So that makes complete sense. Okay, moving on right along to our next file. Ooh, that one's long. Let's try this one.
The train station is where the train stops. A bus station is where the bus stops. On my desk, I have a workstation.
Har, 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 har. Har, har, har. Denny with the jokes.
The train station is where the train stops. A bus station is where the bus stops. On my desk, I have a workstation.
I feel like Denny kind of took on a bit of like a southern accent. On my desk. Let's look at this sentence. Those are, which one was it? Was it the 10-second or the 11-second? Which one was it? It's the 50-50 shot. Am I going to win the gamble?
Hey, D.
Nope. Lost it. Whoops.
The train station is where the train stops. A bus station is where the bus stops.
Bus. You hear that? Kind of draw it out a little bit.
Bus stops.
Back that up more.
Bus station is where the bus stops.
Bus.
Is where the bus stops. On my desk.
On my desk. On my desk.
Stops. On my desk. Is where the bus stops. On my desk, I have a.
On my. Maybe it's more the on my.
On my desk.
On my. On my.
On my desk, I have a workstation. I have a workstation. On my desk, I have a.
I have that like. Is it like I have a work.
On my desk, I have a.
I have a.
On my desk, I have a
I have a
workstation.
workstation. Yeah. Anyways, cool. We'll work with this. Great. What's gonna stand out to me? Other people agreeing that it has a southern touch. Emmanuel, Justin, everyone. Danny was saying he loves the southern accent. Makes sense. Very familiar with the phrase "and bless your heart." I hope everyone's saying that this has some southern influences. Okay. Granted, even when I lived in Texas, my wife and I were in Texas for a couple of years. I mean, it's not. It probably depends on especially if you go into like the country, you'll hear it. But if you go to like the city, it's not super hardcore. Yeah. Then he never knows what to say. So he went out of his way and found a joke. Cool. Bless your heart. Does Italian have any phrases like that like they sound really sweet, but it's actually like mad offensive? Let me know, Denny. Okay, but how can we help get the sentence sounding even more natural, even if we're using a southern accent? Because southern accents obviously can sound natural too.
The train station is where the train stops.
Train stations where a train stops. So one thing about how do I say this? Okay, so if you look at a textbook, what a textbook is typically going to tell you when it comes to stress rules is a textbook is going to tell you that what you're going to do is that you're going to stress the last content word in your thought group. That's what is always going to happen in a textbook. Okay, and if you're not sure what a content word is, content word are words that carry the most meaning. So, for instance, your nouns, your verbs, your adjectives, your adverbs. These are your content words, and they tend to get the most emphasis. Okay? So, your last major content word would be stops, right? But I think what we often see with English, yes, it is possible for verbs to receive the stress. But I think, out of all your content words, I would argue that there's a hierarchy. In verbs, go at the bottom. Verbs can be stressed and still sound natural in many situations. But the reality is that, like, if you're finishing with like a subject verb, so for instance, you have train and then you have stops. I think the more frequent stress that you're going to find is actually on train and not on stops. I said where the train stops, where the train stops. Train stations where the train stops. Train stations where the train stops. Compared to train stations where the train stops. So compare those again. A train station is where a train stops. A train station is where the train stops. I think it's going to be a lot easier a lot more common to put that stress on train instead of stops. That's just my opinion. Feel free to ask other teachers and see what they would say about that.
The train stations where the train stops.
I also think that maybe slightly over emphasizing stops. You're going pretty heavy on that stress there.
The train stations where the train stops.
It's very easy for words to become over stressed. It's very easy for that to happen. Then you mentioned it. I can't think of an alternative for bless your heart. Understandable for time. It's very easy to overstress.
The train stations where the train stops.
I think the key thing to keep in mind when you're talking about stress is it's all in relation. So it's all in relation to what comes before your stressed word. Because when you're stressing a word, all you need to do is go a little bit higher in pitch. You don't have to go crazy high, just a little bit higher. So for instance, it said train stops versus train stops. So I think that you don't have to go as high on stops. Is where the train stops. Okay, it said train stops. That would be too exaggerated. Train stops. Okay, it just needs to be a little bit higher than the words around it. Okay, so just to know on that, I do think it's a little over exaggerated. And again, I would recommend changing the stress and putting it onto train. I saw my mom made a note about that as well. My mom says, I think that since you're really defining what a train station is, emphasis should be on train, station together, and de-stress stops. And yes, I don't think stops would get the stress. Train stations where the train stops. I'll do it that way. In addition to that, for the first part,
The train stations where the
a train station, those are the pitches you're giving me, right?
the train stations where
Train station.
the train stations
So what's happening is you're giving me the same pitch almost for train and also for stay. Maybe we can go a little bit lower on that stay syllable. Okay, and the reason we're stressing train, if you're like, why aren't we stressing stations? Shouldn't we stress station? A train station is a specific thing. This is called a compound noun when you have two words that join together to make one thing. That's called a compound noun. So that's why we're stressing train. So what I would say here is that I would try to go a little bit lower on stay. A train station, a train station, a train station. A train station is where the train stops. So in general in English doesn't like it when the same pitch is repeated 2 times in a row. So if you're looking for something immediate in your own speech that can help make some differences, I would really recommend going down a slight pitch. Make sure you're not doing the same pitch twice in a row.
the train stations where the train stops.
I like that is where you're starting going down there, and that's great. Okay. Let's look at the second part.
A bus station is where the bus stops.
Why the pause? Why the pause after station there?
Stops. A bus station
Look at that pause. Bus station.
is where the bus stops.
Is where the bus. So now then it comes in, right? So we don't really need that pause there. Keep it flowing. A bus station is where the bus stations where the also because the is you don't really hear the word is a whole lot in English. It's usually reduced or contracted. So I would have expected stations. A bus stations, instead of a bus station is, a bus stations. So this is a big thing with thought groups. Keep them flowing. Just because the thought group ends, we don't need to keep it going. Yeah, I thought I had that on my soundboard. I need to add that because that's such an important sound to have. But I can do a sad violin for that pause. Or I can boo that pause. Boo. Why are you pausing? I'm just messing with you, Denny.
A bus station is where the bus stops.
It's where the bus stops. A bus station's where the bus stops. Had to think about or it's like a bus station. Oh yeah, that's what a bus station. And then kind of going back. Okay, that makes sense. You have some opportunities here with this part to really kind of play with the first sentence. You have what's called parallel structure. You're repeating the same thing over and over again. That's why this joke, quote unquote, works, right? Because it's the same idea over and over again. A train station is where the train stops. A bus station is where the bus stops. So you had a great opportunity to play with that sort of structure more.
A bus station is where the bus.
You need to go higher on bus. Bus needs to be the heaviest stress in that second part. A bus station is where the bus stops because you're trying to make the comparison between bus and train. You're trying to show that contrast. And you're going to do that by going even higher on bus. A train station is where the train stops. A bus station is where the bus stops. You want to go higher there. If you're trying to use this as a joke, that's how you're going to make this joke work. You need to go higher on that bus.
Bus station is where the bus stops.
This is where the bus stops. So that'd be my recommendation there. Then our last one.
On my desk, I have a workstation.
On my desk, I have a workstation. Work. A train station is where the train stops. A bus station is where the bus stops. On my desk, I have a workstation. And then you look around and see if anyone is laughing, right? That's where you kind of get that. So on my desk, I have a workstation. I think that for this, if I were using this as a joke, I think bus needs to have the highest out of everything. All these three sentences, bus probably is going to be the strongest. Train station is where the train stops. Bus station where the bus stops. On my desk, I have a workstation. Work is actually not going to be the highest pitch of the whole sentence. On my desk, I have a workstation. I have a workstation. So I would personally say it like that in terms of pitches, and I think that would be the most helpful. On my desk, I have a workstation. Mom has some notes. My mom, she's right. I tend to make a contraction of station and is. Yeah, exactly. The bus stations where the word is not very common in English. Stop using it. Don't stop using it completely. It does appear, but it gets contracted. It's usually attached to the words around it. Yeah, so, and my mom also notes she would drag out the word desk a bit more on that. Okay, so let's, I'm going to play Denny's way of saying it. Denny also notes that for his second thought group, his highest stress bus. And so I remember you saying how English doesn't like being predictable. Yeah, 100%. No, that's you're picking the right stresses there. Yeah, you're definitely picking the right stresses. I just want them to kind of stand out more. All right, so I'm going to play how Denny said it, then I'm going to play how I would say it one more time.
A train station is where the train stops. A bus station is where the bus stops. On my desk, I have a workstation.
A train station is where the train stops. A bus station is where the bus stops. On my desk, I have a workstation. Thank you. But yes, those would be my major comments for that file. Denny, thank you so much for sending that to us. It was a great sentence. Lots of super helpful information there. Before we move on, I do want to just kind of talk about something that we have mentioned several times already, and that is our program called Mission English. I just want to kind of show you how it works, what it looks like when you're in it, and then we'll discuss it. Just a note, sometimes the audio comes in a little bit hot, so you might want to turn down your speakers just slightly. Ooh, ooh. Notice that for me, I'm not really having that ooh, ooh. And it doesn't sound exactly the same, like ooh and ooh, but they're close enough that for the speech that you're doing in daily life, it'll be okay. Really nice day.
Really nice day.
So what I'm hearing, so I heard really nice day. So what happened was you put day at a lower pitch. Really nice day.
Just nice.
Okay. I would say, I thought for the most part it sounded pretty good. I think there were a couple words that we do want to watch out for a little bit. Hey, hey, hey.
Hey, hey, hey. Hey, hey, hey.
Yeah, there you go. That last one's great. So, this is Mission English. Again, it is a private Facebook group where we meet Monday through Friday for 30 minutes. There's different streams. So, for instance, on Monday and Thursday, we meet at 8:30 p.m. New York time. And then on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday, we meet at 9:30 in the morning. Trying to do times that to make sure no matter where you're located in the world that there's a moment where you can join us and it works for you. I also have a great opportunity for you. If it sounds like something that you want to try, but you're nervous about it, you're like, I don't know how I feel about paying for a class, like a pronunciation teacher or things like that. I get it. It's not for everybody. But I do think that it's one of those things that when you do it, you join it, we have fun, we have some great conversations, and we talk about so many things that we don't really get to during our live streams. I do have a great offer for you, or something that I think you will like. Again, if you're feeling a little bit nervous or uncomfortable, or you're just not sure about doing it. So one thing you can see here is that if you want to get 50% off your first month, so normally, again, this costs $30 a month, but if you want to pay $15 for 18 classes the next month, what you can do is if you go to fluentamerican.com/Mission English. So if you go there, and if you use the code FALL50, you will get 50% off your first month. Okay. I enjoy doing it. It's something I really look forward to because from a teacher's perspective, I never have any idea what our discussions are going to be because I leave it up to you. You join me on screen. We talk about things you're interested in. We can do shadowing together. We can do pronunciation exercises together. All those sorts of things. And I have fun. And I think that people who have been in it have really enjoyed it as well. But check that out if it's something forgotten to mention. You should apply. It's the before and after. What a great! I really appreciate you saying that. We have so much fun together. Really been such a great time. Se la focaccia è pronta, that. Puoi mandarmi un pezzo, forse solo un pochettino. Ma sai che io ho avuto un coinquilino da Montecarotto, nelle Marche, e ha provato a mandarmi l'olio d'olive, ma there was some issue at the post office. So apparently, if you're in Italy, you try to mail olive oil, that's apparently not possible. So that's frustrating. Okay, enjoy it, enjoy it. Emmanuel is a great member of our group. He's enjoying it. We want to work with you. The other nice thing about it too is that all of the live streams are kept in the Facebook group. So even if you can't attend the class, you can still watch it. And you can see all our past ones as well. So that's another reason to join. You're getting already like 20. There's already like a backlog of 20 classes that you can watch. Yeah, something that I really hope we get to work with you more closely because I would love to because, what we're doing here at the Schwa Mill, it's fast. You get like 10 minutes of feedback and then we have to move on. But, there we're really able to give you so much more attention. Moving right along, though. I need to time myself. Steven Tyler has sent us a file. So that's exciting. Hope you guys are looking forward to that. By the way, again, if you're just joining us for the first time, welcome. What we are doing is we are listening to your pronunciation files and giving some suggestions for how can we achieve a more natural accent in American English. Oh, I also see Max has sent us a file. His sentence, Jeff is criminally underrated. It's a crime. People should be in jail or heavy fines. I appreciate that. I'm excited to hear that audio. Okay. Our next one. Oh, I need to make sure I am sharing my audio. That would be helpful. Hey, look at which way do I look? Oh my gosh, I don't even know. Give me one sec. Share system audio. Don't want to forget that. Alrighty, we're taking a look at this pronunciation file. Let's see what we got.
Until the philosophy which hold one race superior and another inferior is finally and permanently discredited and abundant, everywhere is war. Me say war.
Okay. Always have to applaud some singing. Come on, guys. People bringing that to the live stream. Shok is giving the singer a run for his money. If you don't know who the singer is, just wait. But let's go into it. I like that. Oh, really? I am not familiar with this. Is this true? Is that actually what it's called? I'm not familiar with this song at all. Yeah. I like that you brought this quality up. Emmanuel wrote that Shok has a warm voice, and warmth, that depth, that resonance. It is a quality that singers in lots of languages, not just in English, in lots of languages, go after. It's one of those things that, like, if you ever wondered why a lot of like British singers, and you're like, when you hear them talk, you're like, oh, they sound so British, but then you hear them sing, and you're like, wow, they sound really American. One of the reasons for that is again, singing requires just so much breath. A lot of the breathing exercises that you do if you get music training carry over very nicely to American English because you're engaging your diaphragm a lot more. And I think Shok, when she's doing that, she really is able to get that breath flowing. It's a long section, so we're going to do what we can here. It's also hard with singing sometimes to give some advice, but let's listen.
Until the philosophy which hold one race superior and
Okay, that it was clear in the beginning, and then the second half of that first part got a little bit muddy for me.
until the philosophy which hold one race superior.
Everything from which down to superior. I'll be honest, if I didn't have the text, that would probably need a couple listenings on my part for me to understand.
Until the philosophy which hold one race superior.
Which whole one race? It's the which whole one race part.
Hold one race.
Which whole one race? Okay, so now wait, I'm just playing that part.
Philosophy which hold one race.
You're giving me the same pitch over and over again.
The philosophy which hold one race.
Hold one race, hold one race, hold one race. And again, in English, that is a difficult thing. You're making it hard on your listener to pick up on that because there's not enough contrast. English needs contrast. Things need to go up. Things need to go down. Things need to get loud. Things need to get quiet. This is how listeners understand you. So my first thing is, can we mix up some of our pitches there just to add some greater variety to make it easier to understand?
Until the philosophy which hold one race superior and
so that's what you did on superior. As soon as you got to superior, you added some variation.
One race superior.
It's like superior. You went a little lower, then you went up, and then you went down again. And that word immediately started sounding a lot easier to understand. So again, just kind of shows the impact of that will really add some clarity there. My mom adds a grammar question. Would it make it more understandable if it were holds instead of hold? I mean, yeah, it would be more grammatically correct. But I don't think the issue with understanding is the grammar. The grammar might not be the right word, but I don't think that's the clarity thing. I think people would still understand this, personally. But I'm very biased because, listen, guys, I talk to more English learners than I do, like, native speakers these days. So I hear all kinds of things. It's part of my job. I need to be able to understand people. So, if my mom is saying that would make it hard for her, that might be a helpful comment, kind of showing the impact of grammar on speech.
Hold one race superior and another inferior.
I like what you did with and another. and another inferior. So now you're adding more movement back in, and another inferior. So like going down again, then going up.
Finally implement. Finally another inferiors. Finally and permanently.
Finally, and again, you're kind of getting back into the pitch issue a little bit with finally and.
Other inferiors. Finally and permanently.
Because it's like finally and perma, all of those sections again almost had the same pitch. And this is kind of tricky too, because I know you're singing, so this is a song. So it could be that the song is using the same pitch. Again, I'm not familiar with the song, so I have nothing to kind of compare it with. You know, I don't know what the intentions are with how the song was originally created. But those are potential issues I would see.
And permanently discredited and abandoned.
Discredited.
Discredited.
Cre. So watch out for the vowel there on cre. This is your S sound again, like best or get. I think the back of your tongue might be a little bit too low. You need to raise that more. That S sound is such a tricky vowel because you need a lot of air to go through your throat, like all sounds in English. But at the same time, the back of your tongue is high, so it's like you're allowing air to pass here, but you're not allowing as much air to pass through your mouth. So that can be kind of confusing. It's just kind of something to be aware of. So like discredited.
Permanently discredited and abandoned everywhere. Discredited.
Discredited. The song does everything. Forgot. Forgot this song does everything but use the same pitches. I'm definitely gonna have to listen to it now, just for a comparison's sake. So it's something that Shok, if you're watching this, something to compare it to. Then you might want to listen to the original, just to make sure we're hitting the same notes.
And permanently discredited.
Discredited. I feel like sometimes when I'm listening to
Finally and permanently discredited.
Discredit. Sometimes I feel like I'm hearing an E sound instead of a short I sound on credit. So just watch out for that. Make sure you're doing credit, not credit. Credit. Okay, so just watch out for there. But yeah, so watch out for the pronunciation of that. Even Emmanuel has just made a note in terms of discredited. Discredited. It should be cre. Yeah, so watch out for that. Cre. Like again, like best or get. Other things.
And permanently discredited and abandoned.
Abandoned. So notice that A sound plus an N. This is, if I had to make a list of the hardest sounds in English, this would probably be in the top 3, in my opinion. That A sound plus an N. It's such a horrible, horrible sound. I hate teaching it because it's so tricky, because it's not just the A, it's like Ann, for instance, like my mom's name. So it's like abandoned. No, not abundant. Abandoned. Discredited and abandoned. Abundant is a slightly different word, right? So
discredited and abandoned.
So that you're kind of doing it like what you're hearing, like abundant versus abandoned. Can you hear a difference between those? Abundant, abandoned. Abundant, abandoned. You want the second one, abandoned. So watch out again for that A plus N vowel. If you're trying to practice that, like and, make sure again your placement is low. Make sure you're getting a lot of air through your diaphragm. I'll do some quick breathing things in a moment. And make sure again you're going to feel your tongue kind of sliding back. And right before you do that N sound, you need a lot of air to go through your nose, like and. When my hand goes down, that's when the air is moving through my nose. And. Okay. So one thing you can also try doing with this, if you find that that's tricky, hard to say, if like you're doing and where it's really tense and high, one thing you can try doing, let me just kind of reposition myself. I'm going to move the text so you guys can see me good. Okay. All right. So firstly, take your fists. We're not going to box, I promise. Not about that energy. But I want you to take your fists, put them on your ribs. Okay. I want you to take a nice big breath in. Did you guys see just what just happened? So when I did that, my fists moved this way because your ribs, your ribs aren't made of steel. They need to be flexible. They need to be able to move when you breathe in because your lungs get bigger, right? So, and now what we're going to do is we're going to try to say and as we say and, we want to use our diaphragm, which is located right around there in your stomach, okay? And your diaphragm causes your lungs, it pushes against your lungs to basically let the air out, and then it drops to let your lungs expand, right? So we want to make sure when we're speaking in English that we're trying to feel our diaphragm a little bit, because a lot of people are speaking from their lungs, but they're not speaking with their diaphragm. So we want to try to get that involved more. Most likely your first language is kind of concentrated just in your lungs. American English likes to engage that diaphragm more to get more breath out. So for instance, what we're going to try to do is we're going to say and we're going to move our diaphragm. We're going to feel your fists move closer together as you let out breath. So again, breathe in. And then we're going to say and. Hear all that breath coming through? Try to get a little higher so you guys can see. So again, feel your ribs expand, and then we're going to let it all out, and your ribs are going to contract, and especially at the end, okay? So really trying to get that movement, trying to get the breath out there, and trying to get the diaphragm involved when you're saying and. One of the advantages of that, too, is it's going to lower your placement to make sure you're projecting from a lower position, too. Okay, so hopefully that is helpful for that. Other things that kind of stand out from this file.
Created and abundant, everywhere is war. Me say war.
I like your R sounds. I think we talked about this in the previous episode of Schwamil, but I like your R sounds. R tends to be such a tricky consonant sound because it's very easy to get too tense or too dominant, but I think your R sound has lots of breath coming through. So I think this is a great model. If you're a person out there studying your R sounds, listen to this. I think it sounds really good.
Created and abundant, everywhere is war. Me say war.
Yeah, you can hear that even on everywhere. Those R's were great, and then war. Those R sounds are lots of breath coming through. Really great flow. But Shok, thank you so much for sending that file. As always, we appreciate it. Okay, really quick, guys. I have to step aside just for a brief moment. I will be back in 1 minute. In the meantime, check out this old favorite video of mine, and we'll be right back. You were probably in school years ago when your nice English teacher taught you to say these words. Wrong. All contain vowel sounds that consonants can transform into horrible, horrible monsters. We are hunting down consonants starting with the letter L. Say these words to yourself really quick. Real, girl, milk, roll, cool. Did you say them like I did? If not, it's because when the letter L comes at the end of a word, you want to make sure of these things. The tip of your tongue is down. The back of your tongue is high. There is enough air moving through your throat. It's like a consonant sound becomes a vowel sound like Let's try them again then, shall we? Real, girl, milk, raw, cool. Hear all that breath. Real and cool, by the way, have
long vowel sounds.
That's important because long vowels, when they connect with the letter L, have a slightly
different
sound. Compare.
Really. Real. All right, and we are back. Sorry about the delay there. And in case you're just watching us for the first time, can you say hey? Also, would love to know how you guys found this stream. Did you see it on a post? Did YouTube recommend it? Did you see it in the suggested? Did you see it on your home screen? That sort of information is super, super, super helpful for me in terms of just kind of knowing how we're getting out there. But anyways, let's take a listen to some more pronunciation files. My mom did leave a comment that those R sounds are great. And yes, they most certainly are. Okay, we got through that one. Kind of cruising through our last original files, and there is, of course, still time if you're trying to get your own pronunciation file sent. There is still time to do that. I will show you the steps to do so in one moment. So I see every upload. Justin letting me know how he sees the files. He says that he's subscribed with the bell on. That's great. So he sees every upload. You know, it's interesting because even if people have the bell on, it doesn't even guarantee that they see the notifications. In all honesty, so it's always kind of wild to me in that regard. But that's great that it's working for you. Thank you so much for letting me know that. Super, super, super helpful. All right, who are we going to do next? I have two from our original files. Let's check out this one.
Happy Thanksgiving. It's damn cold here on the island, and I'm trying to finish this renovation before the holidays. I really think I'm in over my head this time.
Okay, Sycamore. Dropping in the situation. I'm not sure where this is from. You guys know my pop culture knowledge is not great. It's just not. Let me play that again.
Hey D, happy Thanksgiving. It's damn cold here on the island, and I'm trying to finish this renovation before the holidays. I really think I'm in over my head this time.
Okay. It's from Sycamore. Sycamore, one thing that we talk about a lot is the short I sound. And I'm going to have to go back to it again. I'm hearing some short I things on. I'll identify them for you so you can hear it. Give me one sec.
Hey D, happy Thanksgiving.
Give. So again, giving. I would practice that. Like, giving. Two short I's, one right after the other. Giving.
Giving. It's damn cold here on the island, and I'm trying to finish this renovation.
Finish. So it's finish, more finish. It's like finish. Just some general things about short I's again. The tip of your tongue is down. The middle of your tongue is a little high, and the very back of your tongue is down. And something that can be helpful too is the sides of your tongue touch your top teeth. So again, it's like you're biting the sides of your tongue a little bit. It's like You can experiment. You can experiment having your mouth wider, like You can also experiment having your mouth more closed, like But I would keep going at it to make sure we're not getting an E. That's not the sound we're going for. We're going for
Before the holidays. I really think I'm in.
Think and in. Think and in.
I really think I'm in over my head this time.
How you said this, I liked.
I really think I'm in over my head this time.
This, good. Now that's kind of closer to the short I sound we're looking for. So the way you said this, you can use that as a model for the short I sounds. I know you can do it. Besides that, though, what else can we say about this file?
Hey D, happy Thanksgiving. It's damn cold here on the island, and I'm trying to finish this renovation before the holidays. I really think I'm in over my head this time.
Let's talk really quick about stresses. I think the words you stressed are fine, except for one situation. There's probably just one change I would make.
Hey D, happy Thanksgiving. It's damn cold here on the island, and I'm trying to finish this renovation before the holidays. I really think I'm in over my head this time.
Take off the stress on time. Head will be your stress there. I really think I'm in over my head this time. Head this time. So it's not head this time. It's head this time, just in terms of stress. My last major thing for this, though, is probably going to be, you have some strong opportunities for emotion here, but instead the emotion's coming off a little bit flat. You have some strong language. You're saying like damn cold here, or like for instance, you're trying to finish, but then you're over your head. So think of like context. Think of like when you would actually use these sort of sentences. The situation here is that you have this guy, you have this speaker who's, I imagine, feeling kind of stressed out, frustrated. So you want to make that clear. And how would you make that clear? Well, it's going to be through the use of emotion. And how do you convey emotion? Well, it's all about, where are you raising the pitch on? Which words are you lengthening? Which words are you doing faster and at a lower pitch? So I do think that we do need to kind of add some more of those emotional aspects.
Hey D, happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving. I would probably go lower. Is Thanksgiving, more Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving. So I do think go a little bit lower on the pitch there.
It's damn cold here on
Damn cold here. So you're kind of giving almost equal weight to each of those words.
It's damn cold here on
So nothing is getting super strong. If you wanted to add extra emotion, you probably want to stress. I'd probably stress damn. Like it's damn cold here. Just to make something stand out. When you don't make anything stand out, or when you make everything stand out, like doing equal stress on all those, nothing stands out. So pick one.
It's damn cold here on the island.
I don't think you need to stress island. Like it's damn cold here on the island.
On the island, and I'm trying to finish this renovation before the holiday.
And if I wanted to emphasize that, I'm trying to do these renovations, right? But they're not going well. This is not going the way that I want. How can I emphasize that? How can I show that these renovations, man, it's just they're just not working. What can I do to demonstrate that? Trying. I would stress trying. I'm trying to finish these renovations before the holidays. It's damn cold here. It's damn cold here on the island, and I'm trying to finish these renovations before the holidays. Okay. Something like that I think would give you a lot more emotion. So try to shadow that. Okay. I'm trying to finish these renovations before the holidays. You could stress holidays too, but don't make it as strong as trying.
Finish this renovation before the holidays.
Because right now you're just finish these renovations before the holidays. Just really flat. Nothing's really getting much emphasis. Not a whole lot of movement.
I really think I'm in over my head this time.
I really think I'm in over my head this time. I really think I'm in over my head this time. I really think I would go heavy on head. Really. I really think I'm in over my head this time. I really think I'm in over my head this time. You could also stress head. Okay, but really I would make stronger. So those little things there I think will have a pretty big impact on trying to achieve a more natural sound. I think you have a great basis. But I don't want it to sound neutral. Right now it just sounds very neutral. No, again, we talked earlier about semantics versus like syntax. And right now, syntactical meaning is very clear, but the semantics isn't really matching the situation. I don't get that sense of desperation or frustration. So we want to try to up the pitches and things like that because that's going to match more what you're saying here. Okay. I hope that makes sense. I imagine you probably are watching this on the replay. So thank you for checking the replay, by the way. But those are the things I would really be paying attention to and trying to shadow and copy and applying. Okay. Thank you so much for sending that file. I hope those notes are helpful. I have one more from our group. What time is this? We're at 1:23:13 on my watch. Let's listen to our last original file. We got a super long one. Okay. Oh, no. Oh, this is the one that got changed. Who changed it? Was it? I think it was Justin or Jesse. Which one was it? It is Justin. Justin, are you that anonymous Kiwi that I see there? Oh, Sycamore is here. Hey, good to see you, man. Sycamore's great. Love working with Sycamore. He's in our Telegram group. Okay, let's see what Justin sent us for some changes. Went from a 30-second file to 5 seconds. That's quite like a reduction there, Justin. Okay, but let's see what we can get for you, sir. But what is your profile picture? What is that? Which anime? Or I guess that's manga.
The main reason why most people hate the Filipino spaghetti is because it's sweet.
Okay, whoa, a lot is happening here. Yeah. Sycamore saying for his previous off file, I was playing a desperate guy from a movie, but it seems it didn't sound very desperate. I mean, what part? I think it's helpful, when you're sending in pronunciation files. I think it's always great to imagine a context for your situation, and you can tell me you can even tell me what the context is. You can tell me, after what sentence did you say? You can make like a note. Justin's saying it's a manga. Good. Which one? But you can leave a note and say like, hey, I'm trying to go for a guy who's like really depressed, or maybe he's going through a divorce with his wife, or like he just got into like an accident, he's really hurt, or he just got a promotion at work. Things like that can be helpful in terms of like, okay, let's try to get the pitch that you're looking for. Hello, Mr. Go Big or Go Home checking in. So what I would say is that once you do that, listen to your file and then kind of ask yourself, where? So if I'm going for this emotion, where in my recording do I show that emotion? And then the next question I would ask you is, can I show that emotion even more? Because I'll be honest with you, oftentimes, and I've talked about this, every stream. A lot of times people are making changes that are like this big when they really need to be making changes that are like, like this big. What's going to sound exaggerated to you is not going to sound as exaggerated to a native speaker. So those are just some considerations that you really, I would really challenge you to, and everybody sending files, things I would really encourage you to be thinking about that. Listen to that file again, and if you felt that you were being desperate, where do you feel like that desperation came through the most? Other people saying hi to Mr. Go Big Go Home. We have a question here too. Let's press the wrong button. I think a spelling thing. So like Illuminati. Okay. What does Illuminati mean? Illuminati is a secret organization. There's another one too, like for instance, like Freemasons. I don't know a whole lot about them, but it's basically like a secret society of people who are said to have great control over the world and like leaders and things like that. It's like a secret organization and things. If you're into that, if you're into like conspiracy theories and things, hopefully that's helpful. What do I say? What I do is say it like there's a person. Justin's giving their things. What I do is say like there's a person in front of me. Okay, cool. I will keep that in mind when you're saying your file. Thank you for saying that. Illuminati is light, right? I imagine it's coming from the same root. It's sort of like I imagine it's coming from Latin, like Illuminati or something like that. So a sense of light. Like aliens. Like I don't. Again, like conspiracy theory stuff. It's not my big bag. I think it's interesting stuff to kind of read about, but I don't know a whole lot about them. Yeah. Constipation theorists. I don't know if that's a typo or like making fun of them. Or conspiracy theorists. Man, I was typing that. But yes, the verb like illuminate means to light or shine light on something. But yeah. But again, I'm not sure, again, if this is Illuminati or whatever. Lots of different potential discussions. Although I am super interested in constipation theorists. Trying to figure out why people are constipated. If you guys don't know what constipation means, I will let you look that up. That could be very fun. It's safe, by the way. It's completely safe. Yeah, just make it fun. Okay, just make it just making sure. You never know. Are there any flat earthers here? Anyone here thinks the earth is flat? I'm not here to judge. I'm just curious. I just want to know what the percentage is. Sycamore says, very good points. Often I feel when I exaggerate, I will sound weird. Hey, I'm really glad you said that. I think probably the biggest thing that people, when they're doing anything, the biggest thing that they need to overcome is fear. And oftentimes it's not fear of like the thing itself. A lot of times it's fear about how people will perceive us. Whether it's our families, it's people from like high school, like people we grew up with. So we can't let that fear be what stops us, from moving forward. So I would really encourage you to exaggerate, because that's how we really can take the next step forward in anything that we do. We're not worried about other people. We're worried about ourselves and how we can improve. Mr. Go Big Girl Home asks, is there a correlation between Illuminati and the pyramid? You could probably find one. This is not my area, man. I teach English. I have a 4-year-old son. I am not an Illuminati expert. But I would encourage you to do some research, and you can let us know, what do you find? That's not an English question. That's a life question. That's a huge how the world works. Emmanuel saying that they love debunking videos. Yep. Yeah. Anyways, going back to our last file. Justin, you have been super, super patient. I appreciate you. I know I wrote your sentence. Where did I put it? Trying to bring it up screen. Okay. Filipino spaghetti. I don't even know what Filipino spaghetti is. So now I guess I have to find out Filipino spaghetti. Filipino spaghetti. Okay, from the tiny thumbnails and pictures, it looks like regular spaghetti, right? Oh, I'm seeing, what is it, hot dog meat or something? And I guess you're talking about sugar and something. Okay. Well, Denny's not here, so it's very sweet. Okay, it's like a sweet type of spaghetti. Cool. I would love to know, would Denny's our resident Italian, would he rather eat Filipino spaghetti or pineapple pizza? That's the question for Denny when he comes back, if you guys see that. Hello to Antom. Hope I said that right. Welcome. If you're interested in getting some pronunciation analysis and things like that, never mind the picture of Filipino spaghetti. It's very misleading. You caught us at an awkward time. Normally we don't talk about this. Normally we talk about your pronunciation. So if you would like to send us a file, what you can do is you can go to this link here and then send us some of your pronunciation, because we would love to hear you. Of course, if you're just checking us out just for fun, that's perfectly fine as well. Okay, but going back to our original file, I should probably just redo the timestamp, because we're at now at 1:32. Things keep happening, guys. Things keep happening. Well, Justin, you should be very excited. People are really eager to try. People have seen this and they have gotten very hungry. So now everyone wants to eat some Filipino spaghetti. I've never had Filipino spaghetti. I guess I am missing out. But once more, let me find that file and then we'll take a listen. All right, let's do that.
The main reason why most people hate the Filipino spaghetti is because it's sweet.
Okay. Like I said before, there's a lot of movement here. So we talked about contrast, and you have lots of contrast going on.
The main reason why most people hate the Filipino spaghetti is because it's sweet. The main reason why most people hate the Filipino spaghetti is because it's sweet.
The main reason, everything's so strong. I think that it feels like you're really punching the sounds out.
The main reason why,
like the main reason versus, like the main reason. I think your consonant sounds are very, very strong. So like one thing I would say is when you have these words, try just taking your vowel sounds. So like for instance, there for that first part, like the main reason. Okay. And just do the vowels. So like you have a schwa sound, you have an a sound, a, and then you have an e and an I. It's like an e sound followed by a short I. It's like a, e, a, e. And then when we add the consonants back in, we want to make sure that those vowels are still the emphasis, not any of the consonants. Okay, it's like a, e, the main reason, the main reason. Notice how mine is flowing. the main reason. And compare it to the original. The main reason.
The main reason why.
Okay. Okay. Justin, do you have a YouTube channel you're working on or something? Because Justin says that he was going for like a content creator, so trying to go really engaging, just like he sees in YouTube Shorts. Okay, this is all super helpful context. Super helpful context for that. Okay, I'm gonna just bring back the text on screen. Give me 1 second. Okay, so if I were doing this for like a YouTube short,
the main reason why.
The main reason. The main reason.
The main reason why.
The main reason. The main reason. I think one issue, in addition to like the vowel thing I mentioned, is that notice that in the main reason, the main reason, the main reason, the main reason, the main reason,
the main reason why.
The main reason, the main reason. Go higher on. So reason is your stressed. That's your stressed word. So reason needs to go higher. So you want that to be at a higher pitch than main. Instead, you're kind of ending up with about the same pitch for them. Like the main reason, A, in, you're almost at the same pitch. It's almost equal. But you really want reason to be a little higher. The main reason, the main reason.
The main reason why.
Like the main reason.
Why most people hate the Filipinos.
Why most people hate. Most people hate. Most people hate.
Reason why most people hate the.
Okay, so you're giving me stress on that 3-part section, right? Most people hate. Most people hate. Most people hate. Most people hate.
And why most people hate the.
Most people hate. Why most people hate. So you have this like I call it like a 3-word group. You know, it's like where 3 words kind of go together. And I think when you have this sort of situation, you usually expect a little bit of stress on the first word. The second word's going to be a little weaker, lower pitch, and then your third word is going to go highest. That's the general progression. Like it's a really nice day outside, really nice day, or like a new 3 new cars, 3 new cars. So these sorts of patterns. So instead, what's happening?
Most people hate.
Most people hate. Duh, 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 duh.
Most people hate.
Most people hate. Most people hate. Go lower on people. Most people hate. The main reason, why most people hate, something like that. The main reason why most people hate, something like that. I think is going to stand out a little bit more instead of kind of get lost in the pitches.
The main reason why most people hate the Filipino spaghetti.
A quick note: you don't need the between. You don't need the for Filipino spaghetti. You could just say hate Filipino spaghetti. You don't need the. But let's keep it in here just because it does have an impact on your rhythm. So let's imagine you're keeping it.
People hate the Filipino spaghetti.
Hate Filipino spaghetti.
Most people hate the Filipino spaghetti.
The Filipino spaghetti. The main reason. I think my mom brought up that she was stressed main. It's like the main reason. You can do that too. There's flexibility here, but the key is don't stress everything. We have to be a little bit more. We need to discriminate a little bit more in terms of what our main stresses are going to be. You can stress reason, you can stress main, but those are the good things that you want to take a look at. It's like the main reason why most people hate. Most people hate, and I'll go really heavy on hate because that's such a strong word. And again, I'm thinking from your perspective. We're trying, imagine we're making a YouTube short, something that needs to be punchy. Most people hate Filipino spaghetti. Like the main reason most people hate Filipino spaghetti. Notice that I'm stressing hate. I don't actually stress Filipino spaghetti. I don't actually need to stress those words. Most people hate Filipino spaghetti and then you have a lot of options for this last part. again, imagine from like a YouTube short perspective, you could try to lengthen the is to try to get an extra attention or to make it more dramatic. Like the main reason most people hate Filipino spaghetti is because it's sweet, or if you're trying to just be fast, because again, it's YouTube short, you're worried about attention, you want people to watch the whole thing, you don't want to lose anybody. The main reason most people hate Filipino spaghetti is because it's sweet. Filipino spaghetti is because, notice that, again, this is a situation with is. If I were saying this, I would probably contract is, unless I'm doing what I talked about before. So you'd, again, apostrophe S, spaghettis because it's sweet. The main reason why most people hate Filipino spaghetti is because it's sweet. Filipino spaghettis because it's sweet. Spaghettis because it's sweet. Spaghettis because it's sweet. That's the rhythm that I kind of would expect. Let's see the rhythm that you actually gave me.
People hate the Filipino spaghetti is because it's sweet.
Because it's sweet. Because it's sweet.
Is because it's sweet.
Okay, so I do think you're stressing sweet. I think you're doing the right ideas for because it's sweet. If you want sweet to stand out more, I would go higher pitch and sharper falling intonation. Sweet. Sweet. Hate Filipino spaghettis because it's sweet. Because it's sweet. Compare that to the original.
Is because it's sweet.
I don't think it has enough emphasis. I think the pitch starts a little too low. I'll go a little higher because it's sweet.
The main reason why most people hate the Filipino spaghetti is because it's sweet.
I just said because it's like shooting a movie scene. Comment by Mr. Go Big Girl. Yeah, I mean, let's imagine the context. So that changes things. I said with the because I want to emphasize it. So that's I see arguments like this a lot. People doing things with their sentence because they think it's adding emphasis. But the reality is that I would view it more as if you're saying it in your sentence, it's already getting emphasis. You put it in it's physically there in your sentence, So it's not like we have to give it a lot of extra attention. If it weren't important, it wouldn't be there. You know what I mean? So I understand the argument, but I don't think that justifies having it. You don't need the. Hate Filipino spaghetti. The main and Justin says I need to emphasize sweet. You are emphasizing sweet, but do it more. Go all out. We talked about exaggerating earlier. Same thing with exaggerating here. The main reason most people hate Filipino spaghetti is because it's sweet. Main reason people hate Filipino spaghetti is because it's sweet. One last thing about this sentence.
The main reason why most people hate the Filipino spaghetti is because it's sweet.
There's something somewhat unnatural about this.
The main reason why
main reason. That pattern, the main reason why that sort of pattern you don't really see in English very often.
The main reason
because you would expect that the main reason or the main reason, those like those patterns exist in English, but this
the main reason
like the main reason, that sort of pattern in English doesn't really exist. Not very frequent.
Reason why most people hate the Filipino spaghetti.
Most people hate the Filipino spaghetti. That pattern on spaghetti is also a little bit unusual.
People hate the Filipino spaghetti is
what it does is main reason most people hate Filipino spaghettis.
Filipino spaghetti
versus spaghetti. Hate spaghetti. What it does when you have that rising intonation, it's not a Valley Girl accent, but it's kind of falling into that territory. It's almost like up talking. It kind of adds some doubt or uncertainty to it. That's one of the tendencies of adding that that rising intonation. And I think it might be a little bit too sharp. The main reason why most people hate Filipino spaghetti,
Filipino spaghetti.
because notice what's happening because you're using that rising intonation. Your pitch, like for spaghetti, get. Get is your stress syllable in spaghetti. The E is not the stress syllable. But what you're doing with your rising intonation is you're bringing it to the same level as your stress. It's like the same height. Okay. So what I would say is that don't let the pitch reach the same point. Spaghetti. You want to go slightly lower pitch on that. Okay.
Hate the Filipino spaghetti is because it's sweet.
Yeah, but those would be my major comments there. Justin brings up I always hear a pattern in gamers or streamers. It would be cool. Can you send me a file? That might be helpful too. Younger people use more uptalk. Yeah, I mean it could be a generational thing. What I would say is that it's up to Edward checking in. Good to see you. Welcome back, sir. So there could certainly be some things. Sentence. He's my age. Do you have a specific video I can do? I don't want to get hit with like a copyright thing, but I'd be happy to take a quick look at a video to give some thoughts, if you have one in mind. I haven't watched the Mr. Beast video in a minute. I forget what kind of patterns he's using. These don't sound to me like Mr. Beast though. And my mom asks, did we all post our own sentences this week? We did. Yes, we did. Okay, Justin's going to try to find me a link. It would be great if you could also find me a timestamp so I know what part of the video you want me to take a look at. Okay. But I'd love to kind of see what he's doing to make sure I can give you the best feedback. Okay, but thank you so much for sending that file. Hopefully that gives you some things to think about in terms of patterns. All right. I see some more people have sent us some files. So I need to check out Muhammad's, Max's, Antom's, and Steven Tyler's. Antom, thanks for sending us a file. Really excited to listen to that. While I'm taking a quick look at these, I want to make sure that everything is okay for you guys. Okay. Oh, Justin, it's not. Justin, put it in the Google Doc. Okay, so put the link in the Google Doc. Because if you try to put it in the chat, I will not be able to see it. Okay, so put it in the Google Doc and I will be able to see it there. The chat's not going to allow links. Just a note. Since actually before I do anything, let's kind of see what Justin is talking about. Justin, is there a timestamp that you can show me, or is it like right at the beginning, right at the start of the video? I'm taking a look at the video that Justin is sending. Okay. I'm just watching an ad. I'm not familiar with him. Hopefully, I don't not get hit with a copyright strike, because that's the last thing I want for this. Or a claim. Okay. Close to the beginning. Okay. Okay. I'm going to play for you guys a little bit of this video. We're all going to listen together. I do not watch a whole lot of gaming people. When do people have time for this stuff? When do you guys do this? Okay. Sharing screen and audio. Okay. Click little thing. I'm starting at like the 6-second mark. Okay. Thanks for stopping by, Mom. Enjoy the party. I think she's dressing up as a bee. That's exciting. Okay. Yes, no strikes. Hopefully no strikes. That's our... Everyone, cross your fingers. Let's see what we got here. Try to volume a bit.
Sometimes the entry roll can be feast or famine.
The entry roll can be feast or famine. The entry roll. That's I don't have an issue with that. That sounds natural. The entry roll stressing roll going up. Entry roll could be feast or famine. Oh yes, and my dad is a beekeeper. What what an outfit. Moving on.
Entry roll can be feast or famine, where you can go 30-0.
You can go 30-0. You can go 30-0. So this is what you would expect rising internet. You can go 30-0, and this lets your listener know there's more information coming. So I'm okay with this.
You can go 30-0 and just like hit every single shot with entering.
You can hit every shot with entering. So again, adding more.
And just like hit every single shot with entering, and you just shit on them, or you run in, you go 0-30, like nothing's working.
Okay, so basically what he is doing, yes, he is going up a lot. And how do I explain this? He has like this pretty much very, very long situation. Like it's like a long list. Like you can do this, and you can do this, and you can do this, and then this is gonna happen. You know, basically what he's doing is he has a super, super long situation, and then he falls. That's probably the kind of the sequence that you're talking about. Let me hear that again. Minor profanity, so I'm sorry if that's not for you. I apologize. You can mute me just for a moment.
You can go 30-0 and just like hit every single shot with entering.
Like it's not. You can go 30-0. You know, he could have gone down there if he wanted. You can go 30-0 and still have the situation with entering. You know, you can still do that. He could have gone down there.
And you just shit on them, or you run in, you go 0-30, like nothing's working.
You know, but the fact that ending part, nothing's working, that part is what kind of makes everything previous to that work. I want to bring back just your original file. One moment.
The main reason why most people hate the Filipino spaghetti is because it's sweet.
Main reason?
The main reason why most people hate the Filipino spaghetti is...
Main reason why most people hate Filipino spaghetti is because it's sweet. Main reason why most people hate Filipino spaghetti is because it's sweet. So that's kind of what you're talking about, right? In terms of like the rising intonation.
The main reason why most people hate the Filipino spaghetti is because it's sweet.
Okay. You can, those rises work. They can work. The main reason why most people hate Filipino spaghetti, is because it's sweet. I think that sort of intonation pattern can work, you know, if that's kind of what we're talking about, in terms of what you're hearing from our example there.
The main reason why most people hate the Filipino spaghetti is...
One thing that he's doing that we're kind of missing is like the linking, you know, allowing the breath to kind of keep flowing from one part to the next. Why most people hate Filipino spaghetti, and otherwise, because this is sounding a little bit choppy.
And most people hate the Filipino spaghetti.
The Filipino spaghetti, you know, versus the Filipino spaghetti. You know, this kind of goes back to one of my earlier points in the audio was sometimes the consonant sounds are a little bit strong, which is kind of impacting the rhythm, which is then kind of calling into question a lot of those other elements that we kind of mentioned, you know. So another angle you could go about this for this file is like, hey, can I try to join these words together a little bit more fluidly?
The main reason why most people hate the Filipino spaghetti.
The main reason most people hate Filipino spaghetti. The main reason most people hate Filipino spaghetti is because it's sweet. You know, something like that I think could sound very natural. The main reason most people hate Filipino spaghetti is because it's sweet. You know, so some of those reductions I do think we get a little smoother on and going a little bit faster. Keep in mind, you only really have like three stresses there, but it's taken us a long time to get through them. So I would work on some of those parts that are reduced. Hopefully that makes sense, Justin. You know, I think that I get what you're saying about the intonation, and I think those certainly can work, but I think that some of those reductions and things could be smoothed out, and I think they'll have the impact that you're describing. And it still allow you to sound natural. Okay. People are adding more files. Oh my gosh, it's getting late. Okay. So we are going to enter a... Listen, Philly Pete. Appreciate your saying that. Cool. Okay, I want to get through these files really quick, but I have not checked these yet. I just want to make sure everything is okay for you guys. So really quick, one thing to also make you aware of, in addition to Mission English, we also have a group on Telegram where we look at your pronunciation every single day of the week. So I just want to give you a quick idea of what our pronunciation group on Telegram is like.
Eel, please. I think your O sounds are a little bit tense. I'm getting a lot of O. Take off the T on center.
Okay, so again, on the Telegram group, what happens is I post a new challenge every single day of the week. Oh no, there was a file in the group and then it just disappeared. Where'd it go? Anonymous Lemur, you just deleted something. Why? Why? If you're trying to give a file, if you can put it in really quick, because I'm going to try to do a blitz round of just these last 3 files that I'm seeing. Okay. Okay, checking files, checking files. Okay. And this is the one, I think. Okay, at this time, I'm going to have to say, please, no more audio files, guys. Oh, Marlon, okay. Okay, Marlon, if you want to send an audio recording, I want you to be very, very quick. If you look at the video description, there is a link. You can also do it if you go at this latest link that I am sending as well. Okay. So check this out. Surrender to love, Mr. Go Big or Go Home asks. It means basically to just kind of give in to love. Like maybe you don't really want to fall in love with something, but you're just like, I'll just do it. Just kind of like giving into the emotion. Like to surrender to something is like to give into it, to accept it, to embrace it, and things. Okay, so waiting on that last file. Hopefully Marlon can see that link. Thank you for joining us. Okay. Does Eb? I don't know what that means. If you can clarify. All right, last few files, guys. We're going to do like a blitz session because I do have to run, but I want to make sure we can get some information out for you all while we're here. Going to share once more. Okay, how about our first one here?
Make a long story short.
Make a long story short. Make a long story short. It's kind of what I'm hearing.
Make a long story short.
Also do our timestamps. 1:57:34. Oh God, which one was it? Was it this one?
Jeff is.
No, I appreciate that file though.
Make a long story short.
Make a long story short. Make a long story short. The most common stress for this sentence is going to be short, not make. It's not make a long story short. It's make a long story short. I would shadow the way I just said it because that's going to be the most common way you're going to hear that sentence, in all honesty. You can go to youglish.com and see what the other examples are there. So if you're not familiar with Youglish, you can go to this site and just type in, make a long story short, and you'll get tons and tons of examples. So I would say listen to what they're doing on this site, Youglish. Okay. I'll maybe do a quick couple just to give you an example. Okay. Come on.
So to make a long story short,
Stress short.
I'm going to make a long story short.
Stress on short.
Well, to make a long story short,
Short stress is your short. Okay. So that's going to be the most common stress by far.
Make a long story short.
I would also consider looking at the or sound is short. Or, sure, short. I would practice that. Or, sure, short. I would even try saying or 3 times, like or. That's kind of the sound that you're looking for to make sure enough breath is coming through. Okay. Question from Edward: Is English spoken in northern states close to Canadian more resemble? That's a great question. I don't have enough familiarity with Canadian English besides this like the stereotypical like a and like took. If you go, for instance, if you go to like Minnesota, you know, people from, for instance, Minnesota do have a very unique accent, like Minnesota, soda, like dragon versus like dragon and things like that. So there are some pronunciation differences that deviate from quote unquote standard American English, but I can't say for sure if they're Canadian features or not. That's a great question. I'm just not qualified to answer. Our next file, blitzing through. 159.57. Justin sending some love for Youglish, as he should.
Jeff is criminally underrated.
Aw, thank you, Max. Max is so sweet. Okay.
Jeff is criminally underrated.
Jeff is criminal. The one thing I would say is that all your pitches are kind of the same.
Jeff is criminally underrated.
I do like is it goes down. Okay. Marlon sent their file. Cool. We are now closed. No more files for today. If you didn't send a file for today, that's I apologize, but it would be great to have your file next week. We usually update our document. We use the same document every single live stream. So if you watch this on the replay or if you're hearing this in the podcast or whatever, we use the same document for submissions every week. I just empty it. So if you didn't send in files this week, we would love to have your files next week. We usually clear it out on Thursday or Friday. Just a heads up. Appreciate Emmanuel's kind words there too. 3:30 in the morning. Thank you so much, Justin, for being with us, man. Doing the hard work of staying awake. I'm guessing Justin doesn't have kids, because if he had kids, I don't know how he would be able to stay awake at 3:30 in the morning.
Jeff is criminally underrated.
What word do you want to stand out? I think that's the biggest question. Is he just wanted to send in the words, and these were I appreciate the words. So my question for you is, what word is supposed to stand out? Because right now nothing is standing out.
Jeff is criminally underrated.
You could stress the name, like Jeff's criminally underrated. Or you could say Jeff is criminally underrated. Or Jeff is criminally underrated. Just something to stand out. Like if you want to stress underrated, so Jeff's criminally underrated. Jeff's criminally underrated. Jeff's criminally under. Like, notice what you want to do. If you want to stress underrated, then you need the pitches before that to be lower. Jeff's criminally underrated. Underrated. If it were me, I'm actually consider doing criminally. It's an unusual adverb, but it's a strong one. It's a good one. Criminally underrated means like a lot of people don't appreciate or like don't kind of like flying under the radar, or don't pay enough attention to something, or don't give enough value to something. So underrated. So you probably want underrated. You want that ray to really stand out. And I think that's something that will make that become a little clearer. Besides that, though,
Jeff is criminally underrated.
I would also contract the is. Jeff's. I wouldn't say Jeff is. Because, again, the verb to be just not super common.
Jeff is criminally underrated.
I like your short I sound on criminally. Yeah, lots of good stuff here. Just I want something to stand out more in terms of pitch.
Jeff is criminally underrated.
But thank you so much for sending that file. I appreciate it. We do have a great question here. Is American English pitched lower than British English? That's a great question. What I will say is that American English tends to have more breath. That's one of the big differences between American English and British English, is that American English allows more breath to pass through the throat. Thank you so much to Marlon Dope for the 20... I'm not even sure what that currency is. This is a new one for me. Can you tell me what your currency is? I'm super excited to learn about that. But thank you so much for sending your audio. I'm glad you found us. How did you find us? Did it appear on your home screen? Suggested? You just woke up and you're like, there's a live stream going on and I need to find it. It's for English. Like what? How did you find us? I'm super curious. Our next file here.
I just want to go there and buy something.
Just want to go there and buy something. Just want to go there and buy something. Just want to go there and buy something.
I just want to go there and buy something.
Just want to go there and buy something. Ooh, I lost my side cam because my phone died. Check that.
I just want to go there and buy something.
I just want to go there and buy some. I just want to go there. I just want to go there and buy something.
I just want to go there and buy something.
Just trying to think of like what I would be stressing. So this is 204. 39. Oh, thank you also to Mr. Go Big or Go Home for everyone's making it rain over here. That's so nice of you guys. I appreciate it. Thank you for the support. Totally not needed, but much appreciated.
I just want to go there and buy something.
You know, I think this can work. The standard stress would be buy. I just want to go there and buy something. I just want to go there and buy something. But I think if you're kind of like heightening like the exhaustion or like you're just fatigued or you're just tired, this could certainly work.
I just want to go there and buy something.
I just want to go there and buy something. I just want to go there and buy something. I just want to go there. I don't know if I was stressed there.
I just want to go there and buy.
Go there, go there. I just want to go there and buy something. I just want to go there and buy something. I personally would probably stress go than that. Yeah, I got you. But that's not to say that this is wrong.
I just want to go there and buy something.
One thing I do like is the amount of breath coming through on the there. I think that's like super, super clear. Honestly, I like that.
I just want to go there and buy something.
Yeah. I don't. There's so many options in terms of stress and things that can work, so I don't have an issue with that. I like the breath.
I just want to go there and buy.
I like your I just wanna. That's some great linking and reductions. I think that's really smooth.
I just want to go there and buy something.
Something you're reducing, you're removing the ng in favor of just an n. That's fine. Nothing wrong there. Something buy something. Something. One thing you could experiment with is when you say something, can you say it with the tip of your tongue down against your bottom front tooth? Something. Just another option there. But yeah, I don't have a lot of comments for that. I think it sounds fine. Thank you for sending that. Okay. Let's see. There's no PayPal option. It's all good, man. It's all good. Yes. Join us. Yes. Everyone's doing it. Join the fun. Join the group. We'll have so much fun. One of us. One of us, Justin. Save up for Mission English. And Abdullah's here. I hear some. Great to see you here, Abdullah, by the way. Great to see you here. Saw Abdullah making some comments and things like that. Always great to see him commenting on videos. Next file.
A speech is a formal address delivered to an audience that seeks to convince, persuade, inspire, or inform.
Save up for... And again, in case you're joining us late, Mission English is it's our group where we live stream Monday through Friday for basically 30 or more minutes a day. Unless my son is visiting our room. He stopped by our last live stream. And what we basically do is we just answer your questions. You appear on screen with me. So like basically, instead of seeing this box right here, you would see your face. And we answer your questions and we listen to you and we give you exercises and we listen to each other and we have fun and we talk about things. It's basically just like a conversation. And we do some pronunciation as well. So it is $30 a month, although we are doing a promotion. I think it's Fall 50 is the code. You can see in my community tab what the code is. We're doing 50% off for your first month. Use Fall 50 to get 50% off. Yes, thank you for Emmanuel. Yes. Look at people are spreading the word. Yes. Yes. Join us. Anyways, though.
A speech is a formal address delivered to an audience that seeks to convince, persuade.
My biggest thing for this audio is going to be placement. And I'm sorry, I'm just going to give like really fast feedback for this. But the biggest thing, you're producing so many of your sounds from up here. Nightbot, be good to Justin. I'm sorry about Nightbot, Justin. But I'm hearing some of your sounds are being produced from your lungs, pushing out air. You're not engaging your diaphragm much, and your placement's staying really high. Like if you hold these vowel sounds, you're gonna feel the vibration in your mouth area probably.
A speech is a
like speech versus speech. If you hold that e, you're only gonna feel vibration in your head. Whereas if you do like e, you're gonna feel that lower in your throat and things like that. So watch out for that. Your placement's just really high.
A speech is a formal address.
A speech is a formal address versus a speech is a formal address. Do you hear that difference? The difference there is placement and the difference there is breath. Those are the big keys there.
Formal address delivered to an audience that seeks to convince, persuade, inspire, or inform.
The sounds that I would most study for placement would be the E sound, because a lot of your E's, you're using like your first language E almost, E, versus like in American English, like E. You can hear that, for instance.
A speech is
speech. The other thing too is that your vowel sounds so fast. You know, speech versus speech. The E is the dominant sound, not the SP and not the CH. Okay, so lengthen your vowel sound.
Is a formal address delivered to an audience that seeks to
seeks versus seeks. So again, that E sound. So I'll spend some time with the E.
Convince, persuade, inspire, or inform.
Or can you say or?
Inspire or.
Or I like your R on inspire.
Persuade, inspire.
Inspire. That's good.
Or
a little bit too closed. Okay. Inspire or versus inspire or. You know, so again, just trying to get more breath through. I'm sorry, for the sake of time, I do need to move on, but hopefully that gives you some things to work on. Placement and the E sound, and a little bit for R. Those would be the things I would target. I know that I'm excited to hear this file here. And thanks again for sending a super chat. Totally unnecessary.
Hello, my name is Marlon. I'm from Peru. I'm a software engineer. I like to play video games. I like to develop software, and I like to talk to people.
Okay.
Hello, my name is Marlon.
Okay. I can't. Nothing about the name. Your name is your name.
Hello, my name is Marlon.
My name's Cole. Got the construction.
Hello, my name is Marlon.
My name's good.
I'm from Peru.
I'm from Peru. I'm from
Peru.
I'm from Peru. I'm from Peru. Typically with you don't need to you don't need to stress. Pronouns typically in English do not receive stress. So instead of I'm from Peru, more I'm from. A lot of times I'm becomes just like I'm from. I know it's hard, like you're talking, you're not thinking about it. You're like I'm from, things like that. So that can cause the pronoun to get stressed, but in general, you're not going to hear it get that emphasis.
I'm from Peru.
It's always tricky with like cities and countries and things like that, because I don't want to change your country. The way you're saying Peru sounds very Spanish, naturally. If you wanted to say your country's name in a way that you would hear in North America, and I don't know if that's if you're interested in that or not. If you're like, no, it's my country, this is how I say it. Cool. By all means, go for it. But if that is something that you're interested in, the way people will say that in North America.
Marlon, I'm from Peru.
Peru. You instead of Peru, more per. That's the sound you're going to hear, per, and you're going to hear ooh. Compare the difference in ooh sounds.
I'm from Peru.
Ooh. So again, that ooh sound is going to have a lower placement in general. Okay. But again, if you're not interested in changing that, don't keep it.
I'm a software engineer.
Engineer. I'm a software engineer. So let's talk really quick. Software engineer, that is a compound noun. Okay. It's software engineer is a specific thing. It's two words, but it's one thing, right? So we'll stress software. I'm a software engineer. Also note the pronunciation of engineer.
I'm a software engineer.
Engineer versus engineer.
I like to play video games.
I like to play. Very choppy, right? I like to play versus I like to play. Stress play. Everything else is reduced and linked. I like to play. I would just try to say I like to like 3, 4, 5 times. I like to. And so keep saying it so it doesn't even make sense anymore. I like to play.
Software engineer. I like to play video games.
Same thing, video games. Just like we talked about for software engineer, you're stressing games. You want to stress video. It's not video games. It's video games. I like to play video games.
I like to develop software.
I like to I like to, or you can say I like to, again, for your patterns.
Develop software.
It's a develop, more develop, stress on vel. The D becomes duh because it's reduced. It's not stress. Develop.
To develop software.
Software. It's a software. Gear difference. Where.
Develop software.
Where. Lower placement, more open sound, more breath coming through. Air, where.
And I like to talk to people.
I like to talk to. We talked about. I like to talk to people. I like to talk to people. So stress talk instead of people. I know earlier I talked about usually you stress verb. You don't stress verbs, but in this case, I like to talk to people because it's what do you like? I like to talk. So in actuality, talk isn't really a verb here. It's really more an object. I like to talk to people. What do you like? I like to talk. I like to talk to people. So that'll be your major stress there. Okay, hopefully that made sense. You can let me know if anything there was just wild, crazy, not for you, and things like that. Okay, what do we have next?
Hey everyone, it's Jeff.
All my troubles seem so far.
Okay, alright.
We are about to hear our last file for today. If you are just watching us for the first time, we always have, well, not always, but we traditionally have a very treasured member of our community who takes the time to grace us with his marvelous pronunciation and voice. This week is no different. It really goes without saying that we will need to listen to these thoughts. Thank you for Marlon for the Marlon. Thank you so much for the first of all the super chat or the sticker, and for just sending us your audio files. Great to hear you. Hope to see you next Saturday as well in our next stream. Anyways, without further ado,
I could stay awake just to hear you breathing. Watch you smile while you were sleeping. While you're far away and dreaming, I could spend my life in this sweet surrender.
will I get dinged? Will I get copyright claims?
I could stay lost in this moment forever. Every moment spent with you is a moment I treasure.
But I won't change a thing. Oh man,
I don't wanna close my eyes. I don't wanna fall asleep cause I miss you, babe. And I don't wanna miss a thing. Don't wanna close my eyes. I don't wanna fall asleep, yeah. I don't wanna miss a thing. Cause even when I dream of you, that's
why would you be embarrassed?
Do. I still miss you, babe. And I
that.
don't wanna miss a thing.
Oh man, how do you follow that up? Well, the answer is you can't. There's no way to follow that up. It's just such a glorious, glorious thing. Guys, thank you for spending another one of your Saturdays with me, learning some more about pronunciation English. Just, again, some highlights on some things that are coming up in the future that I think you will be very, very interested in. Once more, do you guys know what is the next month? If you said that the next month is November, you are wrong. The next month after October is not November. The next month after October is actually called Novenglish, because we are going to be doing 30 days of accent essentials, basically 30 days of videos every single day that are going to help you understand what you need to attack in American English. Because a lot of people, they're like, okay, I need to study, but I don't know what to study or I don't know what order to study things in. Cool. I'm going to answer all those questions for you. You know, maybe our Mission English program isn't an option for you right now. Maybe that $30 a month is a challenge. Maybe even that $5 a month for the Telegram group is a challenge. Cool. So let's work together then. Through videos, the videos are free. And see if you can do the 30-day challenge with me. It would be great to have you. Make Novenglish a thing. Let people know what we're doing. This is what's going to be happening in November. I'm working on getting the videos ready right now. There's a chance it might affect all the videos coming out for the next week or so. But something you really want to be paying attention to. I'm excited to see the videos. I hope you guys are as well. But thank you guys so much for spending your Saturday with me. I know, look, with American English pronunciation, there are millions of options out there. Let's be honest, there's millions of options. But the fact that you choose to spend, an hour, 2 hours of your time with me on a Saturday of all days, hey, I appreciate that. It's great seeing you guys. I will see you in the next stream. I'll see you guys later. We're back next Saturday, crafting your accent once more in the Schwa Mill. Have a good day. Have a good night. Have a good afternoon. And I will see you next time. Take care.